Everyone loves a good story. I know I do. It's why we read novels, watch movies, have conversations with people. Haven't you noticed how some people are able to draw and hold steadily the loving attention of everyone in the room just by the way they speak? They attract positive attention, praise, and accolades even just by their choice of words, as well as their presence and the way they deliver their words. Everyone loves a good story. It's why we tune into the radio, for anyone who still even remembers what that is. It's even why we listen to music, isn't it? Music is as much a form of storytelling as creative writing or stand-up comedy is. In fact, you could get pretty philosophical about all of this and recognize that storytelling takes place in any creative endeavor, from the obvious, speaking and writing through the use of language, words, to the less obvious, dance, mime, interior design, costume design, gardening, crocheting, flower arranging, Japanese tea ceremonies. These are all just different forms of artistic expression, different forms of creative storytelling. But I'm guessing you're here because you're interested in the art of telling stories with words. And I am here to tell you how to do that. Why should you listen to what I have to say? Who am I? Well, first of all, you do not have to listen to what I have to say. And second of all, I am nobody. I'm just a rando on the internet, just like you. I am no better or worse than you are. I'm just sharing what I know. And since you've made it this far, I invite you to stay and listen for just a little longer if you want to. You are free to leave at any time, of course. There are storytellers, good storytellers, and really, really good storytellers. How do really, really good storytellers become really, really good storytellers? Were they born that way? What do you think? I'll tell you what I think, and you can let me know what you think in the comments if you like. I think that in order to be really good at anything, including the art of storytelling, then you have to be willing, at least for a little while, not to be good at it. That's a nice way of saying it. Here's a not so nice way of saying it. If you want to get really good at storytelling, you got to suck at it for a while and be okay with sucking at it for a while, for as long as it takes you to get really, really good. Well, how long is a while? Is what people always want to know next. How long do I have to suck before I get really, really good? And what I always tell people is that if you can let that not matter, you will get to enjoy a far smoother ride on your way to storytelling greatness, regardless of the time it ends up taking you. It can be fun every step of the way if you let it. Well, how can you let it not matter? In my experience, you can let it be a matter of focus, because it is a matter of focus. You can let other things matter more in the meantime, and then the time it takes to get really, really good passes by much more quickly. Your perception of time changes. Time flies when you're having fun, or so the saying goes. A watched kettle never boils, yada, yada, yada. The question is, do you enjoy storytelling? I'm guessing yes if you're here watching this. And if that's the case, you can let that be the thing that matters, rather than how long it takes for you to get really, really good at it. In other words, what matters is that you love the stories you tell, because that, funnily enough, is what actually makes you a great storyteller. Even more, in my opinion, than whether or not other people love the stories you tell. Have you ever listened to a nervous storyteller? Ever heard a speech delivered by someone on stage who looks like they would rather be anywhere else than up on that stage? Or how about this? Ever been read to by someone who hates reading? Doesn't it take you out of the story? Kind of like how you are less likely to believe anything said by someone under duress. The fact of the duress of the speaker's reluctance makes them an unreliable witness, doesn't it? A less effective storyteller, essentially. My point is that part of being a good storyteller is to actually love telling stories. When you're super into your own stories, the stories that you tell, it's far more likely for other people to get drawn into the world of your stories too. The storyteller disappears and the story comes to life. Forward and center stage, the way really good actors disappear into their roles. What kind of stories do you love to tell? What kind of stories do you love to hear or read, if that's what you prefer? Do you enjoy retelling other people's stories? Do you enjoy retelling your own stories over and over again? Maybe you like to add your own twists. Maybe you enjoy embellishing a little. Maybe you enjoy doing variations on a theme. They say nothing is new under the sun. Everything fresh and new is created from that which already exists, right? So you can let go of any fears of being unoriginal. Besides, old ideas can always be recycled if Disney remakes are any indication. Great ideas are timeless, as they say, and you are original. You are an original, not unoriginal, but an, as in a original, whether you try to be original or not. You are not a copy of anyone else. You are not a clone. That's what I tell myself anyway. Whatever it is you're doing with your storytelling, you know when it's enjoyable. You know when the story you're telling is good because it's good to you. You know when you are enjoying a story because you know what feels good to you. You know when a story is good because you have great taste, which has nothing to do with what other people prefer because that's their taste. Sure, you can be influenced by what other people think is good or not, but you don't have to be. Why do some people dislike strawberries despite so much of the population loving them? Who knows? Some people love Steven Spielberg movies. Some people don't. They describe them as being schmaltzy and overly sentimental. Some people love Tim Burton movies. Some people have never heard of him. You can rest assured that the size of your audience has nothing to do with your skill as a storyteller either, nor does the size of your audience have anything to do with the quality of your stories. You can't be a really good storyteller without enjoying the act of storytelling, whatever form it takes. By that, I mean you have to enjoy the act of storytelling, whether you do it through the spoken or written word, or through dancing or painting or some other form of expression. I say you have to, but it's more accurate to say you get to. I mean, what a price to pay, right? To get good at doing what you love. You get good at what you love by practicing it. Practicing what you love doing. What a chore, right? Enjoy the act of storytelling. Love it. Be passionate about it and be passionate about loving it, because otherwise, how long do you think you will stay in the game of storytelling? If you do not enjoy doing it to begin with, I mean, or if you frequently find yourself not enjoying it. And what effect would it have on your experience of life, the quality of your life, to go on telling stories when you just don't enjoy doing it? That would be like watching a movie you dislike over and over again, knowing that you're not going to like it. Your taste can change over time. A movie you once disliked could grow on you, sure, but why force it? Hopefully by now I've convinced you that the only thing you need to become a really good storyteller is to enjoy the act of storytelling, to have a passion for it, because passion is what keeps you in the game for the long haul, or for however long it takes you to get really, really good at it. Love the stories you tell and love the telling of the story. Some people think they need a devoted audience or to be paid a lot of money to stay in the game of storytelling for the long haul. And that's just a story they've decided to tell themselves. It would be equally, if not more true, to say that a devoted audience and a stable and growing income are the natural result of being a really, really good storyteller. J.K. Rowling would not have the readership and following she has today if she hadn't told the story of Harry Potter. She had no readership when she first started, and she did not let that stop her. It's just like how they say, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. There is no way to becoming a great storyteller. Being a great storyteller is the way. Telling stories is kind of an essential part of being a great storyteller. You have to tell stories whether or not anyone is listening and whether or not anyone thinks you're good enough of a storyteller to be paid for what you do. To be a great storyteller, all you need is to, 1, have a story to tell, and 2, be eager to tell it. Eager and passionate and joyful and at ease in the telling of the story. And when you are consistently in that mode of being eager and passionate and joyful and at ease with your craft of storytelling, then the question of how long it takes you to get really, really good at it becomes irrelevant. It doesn't matter so much or even at all because you are enjoying yourself every step of the way. I've spoken to a number of published authors, both successful and struggling, and what they all have in common is this burning desire to tell great stories. That's what keeps them going, although having a successful storytelling career certainly helps. It's what keeps artists like renowned Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki keeping on telling stories even after he has supposedly quote-unquote retired for the nth time. He loves his craft. He has a passion for it, and that's what keeps him going. He has nothing to prove at this stage, or at any stage for that matter. He tells stories because he loves the art of storytelling. One last thing. You have everything you need right now to tell a really good story, to be a really good storyteller right now, today. Whatever it is you think you need, guess what? You already have it. It's like, look at a seed. Let's say it's the seed of a sequoia tree. Those grow to be huge, right? Massive. The seed is tiny in comparison, but it contains all of the information that is needed to become a mature, fully grown sequoia tree. When that seed is watered and sprouts, you know that you are going to end up with a sequoia tree, which is magnificent. Not a peach tree or an oak tree or a coconut tree. Not that those aren't also magnificent in their own way, but a sequoia tree. You are like that seed. You already have enough stories in you to tell for this lifetime and the next. You have lived enough life to know what kind of stories excite you. Sometimes when you tell stories, other people love them as much as you do. They tune in and love to hear you. And sometimes they just don't care much for what you have to say, or they just don't get you. Some of them might not even be very nice about telling you what they think of your stories and of your storytelling ability. That's irrelevant. The fact is, you know at any given moment of any given day what feels like a really good story to you because it feels good for you to tell it. And you don't need anyone's permission or approval to do that. It's not your job to get other people to quote unquote get you. Your only job is to get yourself and have a good time at every stage of the process because it's your life and it's your story.